The World Athletics Continental Tour Gold makes its 2021 European debut as we arrive in the Czech Republic for a meeting steeped in a rich history and celebrating its 60th anniversary this year. It's time to shine at the Golden Spike in Ostrava. Decent weather conditions, 14 degrees Celsius, 68% humidity and just a little bit of wind, as you can see, knocking around inside the stadium. And we've got a packed schedule over the next couple of hours for you as we scroll down some of the highlights. World record attempt later on the day by Joshua Cheptegei in the men's 3000. We've already got world record holders in action. Armand Duplantis in the pole vault, Genzebi Dibaba to come later in the women's 1500. Sprint sensation sha'carri Richardson in the 200. Gatlin, De Grasse and Curly in the 100. One of the spiritual homes of javelin, the German powerhouse Johannes Vetter takes on the world champion Anderson Peters, and we've got the Olympic champion Christian Taylor against the emerging force Fabrice Zongo in the men's triple jump. That to come up over the course of the next couple of hours. Very welcome you are to the Golden Spike in Ostrava from myself, Chris Temple, and alongside me is the 6 times major championship medalist, Jenny Meadows. Jenny, a little look earlier on, we saw Jacob Kiplimo taking on the 10,000 meters, and really one of the talked about athletes in the men's distance running world at the moment. The world half marathon champion. This was a little bit earlier on in the Zatopek Memorial over 10,000 meters, and in the end it was a solo run from the front by Jacob Kiplimo, and as you'll see in just a moment, a serious time. Looking at his watch as he came down the home straight there, you saw 26:20 coming into the home straight. The world record, of course, set by his compatriot Joshua Cheptegei, who we'll see later on. And in the end, Jacob Kiplimo clocking in at 26:33, which is the 7th fastest time in history. The world lead, a personal best, and the 2nd fastest time outside of that world record from Cheptegei since 2008. So Jacob Kiplimo certainly producing the goods in Olympic year. That was a little bit earlier on. Our closing event on the track later on will be the men's 3,000 meters, where Joshua Cheptegei will attempt to take on a world record that has stood since 1996. There was some talk about whether conditions would be suitable. They look pretty good, and as you can see from that performance from Jacob Kiplimo, things could be possible, but so much to pack in, so many big names. It's a very good day to Jenny Meadows alongside me, and Jen, again, just mentioning the menu of who we've got coming up whets the appetite.
It really does. We've got, world champions, Olympic champions, and we're just going to kick off with this women's 400-meter hurdles. We're really looking forward to this one. This is our first track event then, live on the international broadcast, whether you're joining us on the World Athletics YouTube channel or further afield around the world. Very welcome you are to what we say is the first European stop. We've had a couple of meets in the US, one in Japan as well, as we pick up the athletes. First of all, in lane 1, Daniela Ledecka of Slovakia, 3 times the national champion. She's had a couple of outdoor runs so far over the 300 meters hurdles. This is her season debut over the 400 meter barriers. She's right on the inside. That's Linda Oliveri of Italy. World rank number 40 currently. She's currently inside the rankings for the Olympics, but doesn't have the Olympic standard. European under-23 silver medalist from 2019 over the barriers. Lane 3, Lena Nielsen's had a great couple of months. Set a PB of 55:27 in Florida. Was out there training with the Lorena Ryder group. 4 PBs this year over a variety of distances. She goes in lane 3. She really is in great form. Emma Zapletalova of Slovakia, who set her PB of 55:19 in the window when it was closed for Olympic standards last summer. Jessie Knight, fresh from a PB herself. She went number 7 on the all-time Great Britain list with 54:78 in Birmingham in the UK just last week. Anna Ryzhkova knows what it's all about, the top level, 31 years of age, twice a European silver medalist over the 400 barriers and in the relay as well. She also has the Olympic standard already, as does Sarah Slot Peterson of Denmark, who is the fastest on paper in the field with her 53:55 personal best, the 34-year-old, and right on the outside, the rising talent from the Czech Republic, Nikoleta Yisheva. We talk a lot about Olympic standards, and we will do throughout the course of the next couple of hours, because for a lot of these European athletes, it's a first real major competitive opportunity to get the standard. Nielsen has it, Knight, Ryzhkova and Peterson all have it. 55.40 is the Olympic qualifying standard for the women's 400 meters hurdles. Certainly a good mix of rising talent, in-form athletes, the likes of Lena Nielsen, who's had a terrible time with injuries over the last couple of years, but really is making it count at the right time in Olympic year. First track event of our live broadcast then is the women's 400 meters hurdles at the 60th Golden Spike in Ostrava. Ledecka, Oliveri, Nielsen, Zaplatalova, Knight, Ryzhkova, Peterson, and Yisheva. So here we go. Jessie Knight will have the experience of Anna Ryzhkova just outside her to be a focus. Lena Nielsen just stumbled, unfortunately, that first barrier, having gone out pretty well for the first few meters. So she needs to regain her composure, which it looks like she's done, going down the back straight, although just having to chop her stride. Ryzhkova, 2 from the outside. Jessie Knight just inside her, and Zaplatalova as well. But right on the outside, Sarah Slot-Peterson now coming into her running as they round the bend. Ryzhkova with Knight. Lena Nielsen not able to pick up from that early stumble, unfortunately, but Peterson now just about the leader as they come to straighten up. Jessie Knight now just checking her stride pattern into the home straight as well now. Peterson from Knight and Ryzhkova between the two. Also Zaplatalova coming on the inside as well. 55.4, remember, is the time. Zaplatalova, the only one of these four that doesn't have the standard, but it's Jessie Knight who's in a fine vein of form coming up towards the line. Watch it on the clock, 54.76. It's an improvement on that personal best if that is confirmed for Jessie Knight. Her second PB in the space of a week. She takes it.
Well, sometimes you're just in such a purple patch, and Jessie Knight will be thrilled. In fact, it's been rounded down there, 54.74, so it's 0.04 of a second away from that time that she recorded just a few days ago. Just seeing poor Lena Nielsen there, didn't go right for her today. She has been in great shape, as you've already said, Chris. She's been competing out in the States. She's been running personal bests over 200, 400 and the hurdles, but taking absolutely nothing away there from Jessie Knight.
54.74 confirmed as a personal best for Jessie Knight, who just continues to improve. She was a full-time primary school teacher, but this year has given it up. In fact, Lena Nielsen just stepped off the track there towards the end. We just caught that out of the corner of the shot, so she didn't finish after that early stumble, unfortunately. Hopefully there's not an injury issue there. But Jessie Knight, she gave up her full-time teaching career to really focus on athletics in Olympic year, with the World Championships round the corner as well, and really looks strong there. And certainly that switch, Jen, seems to be paying off for her.
Yeah, it does. And sometimes in your career, you've just got to, you know, really just commit to your sport. And I think with an Olympic year coming up, you just actually have to put everything behind your athletics. All of these women will be training full-time or pretty much close to it, and absolutely delighted there. But really, really competitive race as we saw the times coming in. You know, a lot of these women have got that Olympic standard, so hopefully we'll see quite a few of them in Tokyo.
Yeah, Zaplatalova with 55.83, one of those that doesn't have the standard, unfortunately for her, missing out on that occasion. As we see the collated result, Jessie Knight, lifetime best, improving, just taking 0.04 of a second off that performance in Birmingham last week. 54.74 from Ryzhkova and Peterson. Of course, the likes of Shamir Little, a certain Dalilah Mohammed still to get involved this year. Sydney McLaughlin still to get herself up and running at the 400 hurdles. She's been taking on the shorter sprint distances, so plenty of American talent to throw into that competition as well. As we pick up a bit of the men's shot put, which is in the early stages. This is Victor Peterson. Just coming in shy of 20 meters there. These are recorded pictures from a few moments ago. That one measured at 19 meters and 72 centimeters for Victor Peterson. Olympic qualifying standard in the men's shot, by the way, is 21 meters and 10. We know how competitive a division the men's shot put is at the moment as well. Michael Haratic of Poland, European champion outdoors from 2018. He's one of those who already has that standard. He's a 22-plus man at his best. He's throwing 21-22 as his best going into this competition. That looking to be challenging that from Michael Haratic. The home favourite in this competition is Thomas Stanek. the world indoor bronze medalist, European indoor champion from Torun a couple of months ago. 21:30 for Michael Haratic is a season's best for him. Here is the aforementioned Tomasz Stanek. Set his personal best at 22:01 back in 2017. Some others, of course, the likes of Kovacs and Krauser and Darrell Hill, all setting out new standards in the men's shot put. Stanek just trying to keep pace with the American talent at the moment. Shame for the likes of Stanek, of course, that we don't have a full crowd. As you can see in the background there, though, we do have up to 1,500 spectators allowed in today with various COVID protocols, of course, in action. Tomasz Stanek, 1975. Let's pick up some action from the men's shot put, men's pole vault, rather. Valentin Le Villani. This competition's been going on for a little while now. Sam Kendricks, Armand Duplantis involved. But the younger Le Villani, oh goodness. I worried where he was ending up there for a second, Jen, but thankfully it all turned out fine, apart from the bar falling off. So Valentin Le Villani, a second failure there at 5 meters and 70. Very early on in the competition, there was a very rare failure for Armand Duplantis, by the way, at 5 meters 50. Took 2 attempts to get over 5.50. Meanwhile, here's Kendricks at 5 meters and 90. Just the one failure on his card so far. Make that 2 for the world champion, who did inflict Armand Duplantis' last defeat back at the World Championships in Doha, where they finished first and second. Kendricks gold, Duplantis silver. Duplantis hasn't lost a competition since then. Certainly these two in early season form. Just working a few things out. In decent condition, Sam Kendricks will need to come back at 5 meters 90. This is Duplantis. His first attempt at 5.90, having passed after a failure at 5.85. And Duplantis clear at 5.90. It looks like Jenny Meadows getting into his groove.
Yeah, we do see this sometimes, some early failures, and you know, 5.90, that equals his season's best. I think in actual fact this is only his second competition, but that was a very nice clearance, wasn't it? You can just see the speed that he has on the runway, and he's took that crucial first time clearance there at 5.90.
So Duplantis, who did have a failure at 5.70 as well, actually did trace back, Jen, the last time he failed at 5 meters 50. I reckon that was in September 2019, just before the World Championships. Was the last time he needed more than one attempt to get over 5 meters 50. Often will come in later than that, of course, in an average competition. As we see the athletes starting to get themselves ready for a very early look at some of the top men in the men's 100 meters. Justin Gatlin, who's been busy. He was in Tokyo just last week on the Continental Tour Gold. Fred Curley, he's a fascinating athlete, looking to become just the third man in history to go sub-10, sub-20 and sub-44 for the 1, 2 and 400s. He's due to run the 200 meters later on as well. Goes in lane 4 in this event after a pretty much of a surprise 9.91 100 meter performance in Miami in April. But let's meet the athletes from the inside. Home interest for Zdeněk Stromčík, who goes in lane 1. The national champion of the Czech Republic is Jan Veleba, 34 years of age now, 7 times the national champion of the Czech Republic. Justin Gatlin goes in lane 3, 4 times a world champion, 39 now. He's clocked, as you can see there, sub-10 this season already, got 9.98. That was in Miramar in Florida, which produced a lot of fast performances in the very early part of April in some very warm conditions. Fred Curley then, World Championship bronze medalist in Doha over 400 meters, number 8 all-time over 400 meters, but all of a sudden throwing his name into the hat over 100 meters with that season's best of 9.91. Andre de Grasse, the Olympic silver medalist over 200 meters from Rio, 3 times a world bronze medalist. He's also clocked in sub-10 this year as well, went 9.99 in Florida in April. Jan Volko of Slovakia. He only has 11 national titles to his name. He's looking for the Olympic standard, by the way, which is 10.05, which will be a push for some of these athletes. Sylvain Witsky of Switzerland set his personal best last summer of 10.11, so the Olympic qualifier is within his reach. And Joris van Kool of the Netherlands on the outside, going long sleeves. In those relatively cool-looking conditions. He's in lane 8. In terms of the Olympic qualifiers, the only men in this field with it are Gatlin, Curley and de Grasse in 3, 4 and 5. Everybody else is chasing it. 10.05 is what's required to give yourself a chance of making the Olympic Games in Tokyo. The men's 100 metres. Stromsik, Valeba, Gatlin, Curley, de Grasse, Volko in 6, Witsky and Van Hoel nearest the camera. Away first time. Valeba got away well in lane 2, but now it's Fred Curley, and Justin Gatlin's got some work to do here. He's going to come on strong late on, but Fred Curley holds him. That's a terrific performance from Curley to hold off Justin Gatlin, and that is a marker laid down by the 400-metre specialist over 100 metres. He keeps running and he keeps making progress. Fred Curley takes it.
That was a terrific win, wasn't it? And it's been rounded down by 100th of a second to 9.96. So if we thought that 9.91 in Miami was a fluke, it certainly wasn't. We're used to, of course, seeing him over that 400-metre distance and the 200 metres. Just looking at his 200-metre personal best, actually, I want to say only at 20.24 seconds. Surely he's going to get under that magic 20-second barrier after that 100 metres.
Well, he about halfway, didn't he? Suddenly found himself a metre or two. Around about here, he started to exert himself. He's the tallest of the figures, powerful athlete. Gatlin, then you expected him to come back, but Curley didn't come back to him. Went away.
He did go away, and he actually got out well as well for such a tall guy. His first 20 metres was comparative with anyone's, but such a high knee lift, but so much power as well. But if you actually look at him compared to Gatlin on the inside and de Grasse, he's so relaxed in those shoulders as well. I think we're looking at an athlete who's just in the form of their career, and I think 11 weeks to Tokyo, it just can't come soon enough for Fred Curley.
Well, where does he go? That's the question. 100 metres, as you say, 200 is his weakest, and I'm saying that in inverted commas event. He's due to come back and run the 200 metres later on this evening, so that'll be a lovely little warm-up for that from him if he's got 2 races in his legs tonight. But to take a scalp of Gatlin and de Grasse, multiple global medalists, and that is a fine confidence boost for Fred Curley over the shortest distance. Fascinating when you throw him into the mix of American sprinting at the moment. As we pick up the men's shot put, latest situation with Mesut Peza of Bosnia-Herzegovina, World Indoor finalist. PB is out towards 21.5 metres. That's the white flag. Just clipping in over 20 metres, and only just over 20 metres, 20.01. The second round put for Mesut Peza as we rejoin Victor Peterson of Sweden. Set his personal best last summer of just shy of 21 metres. Every single member of this men's shot put field, by the way, has the Olympic qualifier, so no worries from that point of view as that one goes over 20 metres on this occasion for Peterson. So it's a nice confidence boost for all of these guys to have that 21.10 already in the bank. What are we, only in mid-May, with national championships to come up towards the mid to end of July in most cases in the national championships window that is allocated as part of the global calendar planning. Filip Mihajlovic of Croatia, World Indoor bronze medalist from Oregon in 2016. The loudest so far, and that is looking a strong throw. That's out towards the 21.5 metre area for Filip Mihajlovic. Took the bronze medal at the European Indoor Championships in Poland with 21.31. Looks like in the form he might challenge his personal best in the coming weeks, which is at 21.84. With the standout throws there in the men's shot put. Spectacular stadium, this one, in Ostrava, which has hosted much history over the course of the 60 years since it's been going. In 1961, 15,000 capacity at the Metski Stadion, as we see the athletes for the women's 1,500 metres. That was the first page, and you'll pick out a couple of names, Jenny Meadows, on this second page, including the world record holder, Genzebe Dibaba.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to watching Dibaba. She didn't compete in the last World Championships. Unfortunately, she had an injury. So fascinating to see what sort of shape she will come out in 2021. Well, we have got two pacemakers in this, and we have been told by the race organiser that they're going for a very ambitious 3:55. So let's see what the appetite for following that pace looks like. We're just picking up the images there. That's Winnie Nanyando. She was 4th in the 800 metres at the World Champs in Doha 2019. She made that 1,500 metre final as well. She was 11th on that occasion. Has got a personal best, as you saw from that graphic, of under 4 minutes. And this is an unbelievable graphic to see, isn't it? World record, in fact, 3:50.07. That is for Dibaba. That came back in Monaco, July 2015. Still only 30 years of age. She's been around forever, hasn't she? But let's see what sort of shape she is in. Not seen her competing for almost 2 years now. So the Olympic qualification standard is 4:04.20. We're just looking at the Czech athlete there. She's just agonisingly close to that one. Just 0.4 of a second away from that. So we have got two pacemakers. They'll be on the inside lane and on the outside. 3 3/4 laps of this track. So the athletes do get underway, and I think pretty soon we'll actually see whether Dibaba is hungry for that sub 4 minutes, and not just 4 minutes, 3:55 in fact, we've been told, as she does seem to be following the first pacemaker. Well,
worth mentioning, Jen, sorry, the wave-like technology you can just see on the inside of the track there, which is the first time it's been used in the Czech Republic. You can see a mixture of green lights at the moment, but at the front of the field you'll see some red lights. Now they are for the required pace. The red lights are for the benefit of the pacemakers. The green lights are basically for the athletes behind, and the green lights are that which represents the pace that they're running at, the red lights. You can just see Seidlover there having a glance down to check that she's on course.
Well, the pacemakers have started really fast. It was 45 seconds there, which is just over 60 seconds for the 400 metres. So on my calculations, it looks like we need to go through in around about 62 to hit that 3:55 mark. And it looks like, yes, 61:42. Not a bad attempt whatsoever, but we can definitely see that there's a huge gap there, isn't there? There's some 15 metres or so to the rest of the pack. It's being led by Dibaba from Nanyando, the two athletes who do have that Olympic qualification standard. And I think around about 4 minutes or just over would be a great comeback to the sport after 2 years out. So I don't think we're going to see that 3:55.
Well, Seidlover has stepped off after doing her job to 500 metres. So Hibot Mehari, the teenage Ethiopian, has taken over at the front. Her task was 2:04 at 800 metres. But as you can see, still sticking to her task. But at the moment, Dibaba happy to dictate proceedings in behind from the World Championship finalist Winnie Nanyando over 800 metres there in the centre, who finished just out of the frame in the World Champs 800 that was won by her compatriot Halima Nakai. Hirut Mashisha, the All-African Games champion over 800 metres, is tucked in 3rd position. Mishmash of Slovenia, long-serving multiple national champion as well. Also well to the fore in around about 5th or 6th place as well. And also Esther Guerrero of Spain in the white and red is also in the leading 5 or 6 in that chasing pack headed by Dibaba.
Yeah, well, I think by the very fact that we still do have a lot of athletes in this pack, it does show that the pace has dropped. So I think they're coming in round about 4:05 pace at the moment, but let's see with 600 metres to go. So still, Dibaba from Nanyando, the two athletes that you would think would be at the front of this field. You've named some other great athletes there, Chris. Very competitive, this women's 1500 metres. And thinking back to that World Championships in Doha, a whole host of season's bests, national records, personal bests. Almost all the field were under 4 minutes. And I'm just looking on the outside there. We can see Esther de Guerrero, the Spanish athlete. She's made a successful move from the 8 up to the 1500 metres. And at the bell lap, everybody more or less is still in this one.
So at the front then, still the opportunity now by Dibaba's just been passed by 2 or 3, and all of a sudden Meshesha of Ethiopia has taken it to the front, and Dibaba is suddenly going backwards. 5 or 6 have gone past her. So it's Hailu from Meshesha, the 2 Ethiopians at the moment now, with Nanyondo in 3rd. Now Guerrero comes up into 4th. Mishmash starting to get going. Genzebi Dibaba has been passed by nearly everybody, and the world record holder is right out the back door at the moment. So Hailu from Meshesha, Mishmash the civilian, Guerrero grits her teeth. Sabatini's run a great race in about 5th position for Italy at the moment.
Well, this is a terrific win if Hailu does manage to hold on to this. World Under-20 Championship finalist over 800 metres, but it looks like she's really found her legs over this longer distance. And just coming into the home straight here, I've only got a personal best of 4:07.9 for her this season. In fact, she's going to absolutely smash that. Just outside 4 minutes, 4:04.22. Taking what, 3.5 seconds off her personal best there.
And she, if that is accurate and isn't rounded down, she has missed agonisingly. In fact, she hasn't. She has hit spot on the Olympic qualifying mark. Ethiopia middle distance running is a very tough team to get into, but you've got to have the standard, and she has just hit the standard absolutely bang on, 4:04.20.
Well, it would have been agonising for her, wouldn't it, if she would have just missed out. I don't think she could obviously have timed that any better. But I was really impressed with her. She pulled away from the rest of the field over the last 200 metres, and some quality athletes in that pack. Early season, of course, but I think she might have found her distance here over that 1500 metre event.
Well, the questions about Genzebi Dibaba have to be answered, Jen. It's her first 1500 metres since August 2019. She got injured, of course, for Doha. Didn't have an opportunity to race there. 30 years of age. She has, of course, started to step up in distance as well. Made a 65:18 half marathon debut last year. She actually stepped off, Jen. I just caught it out of the corner of the picture there. So Dibaba didn't finish.
Well, that'll be a shame for her, and I'm sure a lot of people are tuning in all around the world. A lot of her competitors as well, wanting to know what sort of shape she's in. Well, I think the jury is still out on that one, but Hailu it was for that brilliant win, 4:04.20 from Misha. I think Miss Mash was in there as well, and Nyando, she was coming in about 4th or 5th position there.
Yeah, Winnie Nanyondo, the 800-metre specialist, but it's a great run from Hailu, who I'm pretty sure, well, she might have known what sort of form or shape her Ethiopian compatriot Genzebi Dibaba was in, but she'd have expected to have some more competition at the front when you've got the world record holder in the field. That is no doubt at all. But 4:04.20, a personal best for Veni Hailu of Ethiopia. And she has the Olympic stand of the 20-year-old. Some excellent runs in behind, by the way, from the likes of, as we'll see here, Gaia Sabatini ran a PB 4:08. That's taken 3 seconds off her previous best as well. Britt Hummels of the Netherlands, experienced athlete, multiple national champion as well. She's got herself a PB. She's been successful at the 800 metres as well. But Hailu, certainly the standout performance at the top of that list. As we move on to the second page, confirmation there of the DNF for Genzebi Dibaba, which in an Olympic year is not the kind of thing you want to see. Back to the men's pole vault, Sam Kendricks, who's been in a tussle, as you'd expect, with Armand Duplantis. This is 5:95. Not on that occasion for Sam, who's been a long-time competitor at Ostrava at the Golden Spike. He's been coming to the meeting since 2017. He just found Mondo Duplantis just that bridge too far to try and scale since the World Championships in Doha. They obviously get on very well together, spend a lot of time together on the circuit as well. But Sam Kendricks over on the European Tour, if you like now, having experienced some lovely weather over in the US over the course of the last few months. But a lot of the American athletes now coming over to Europe for the Diamond League circuit, which gets underway, of course, in Gateshead in the UK on Saturday. As we see Duplantis passing his second attempt at 5:95, so this at 6. No. A lovely execution at the finish, but not quite the execution over the bar that he was hoping for.
No, and this actually shows that he is human. He didn't look human at one point, did he, when he was getting those world records? He got a couple of world records, 2019 indoors, and 6 meters. It used to be one of those heights that a lot of vaulters could only dream of, and he seems to have been getting over 6 meters on a regular basis for the last couple of years.
Expectations are so high now, aren't they? If the winning vault starts with a 5, everyone's like, oh, it's only 5 something. Everyone's expectations are through the sky for Mondo Duplantis and the other guys at the moment, particularly Mondo Duplantis, the world record holder, with what he achieved towards the back end of last year. Let's see what he had then at the second time of asking at 6 meters. And this is his final attempt because he passed after a failure at 5.95. Now then, what's he got on the clock? No, he's gone past the, maybe just about past the vertical plane, but he says I've had enough anyway. So that was the last vault, and Armand Duplantis' unbeaten record since Doha. Certainly got a bit of a test today. A couple of failures on there, but Sam Kendricks in the end couldn't improve on 5.85, and Valentin Lavillenie took third. But after a season opener in the US, Mondo Duplantis making his European season debut. As we pick up the first page of what is a packed, we're going to say that, a packed men's 1500 metres field. There are 19 athletes if you include the 2 pacemakers. This is going to be extremely busy. Let's put it that way. Marcin Lewandowski there, drawn at 15, the 33-year-old. And Jen, you've competed in races, maybe not quite as busy as this, have you? But this is going to be a busy old field.
It is, and I think that is just because the history of this meeting, everyone always wants to come to Ostrava. We know they understand the athletics. Alfonso, who's the meet director, he never likes to say no to people. He understands athletes want to get into races, and of course Ostrava is famous. Usain Bolt always used to choose this meet every single year, so as always a popular meet on the circuits.
Well, we saw Filip Sasinek, national champion of the Czech Republic, Ismail Debjani, Marcin Lewandowski, 4 times a World Championship finalist, a couple of European silvers, 3:31 athlete at his best. As we see Simon Dinasil of France go through, Alexis Millet as well. He's been in decent recent form. Mikhail Rozmis of Poland, and here is another Czech athlete, Jakub Halusha. World Indoor Championship silver medalist twice. Luke McCann of Ireland right on the inside as well. The pacemakers here right on the outside are Jan Sikora and Adam Shavinsky. The pace they've asked for is at 3:32 pace. Sikora due to take them through 500 metres, and then Shavinsky to 1,000. Olympic qualifying mark, by the way, 3:35. And only Millet and Lewandowski currently have it. So a big opportunity here, but the traffic, there's no doubt about it, could be an issue. Men's 15. So away they go, and sometimes if you get yourself in the wrong position in these kind of events, Jenny, you can find yourself running a bit of extra distance that won't be that helpful.
Yeah, I remember the odd time in 800 metres, and I'm only talking about maybe having 12 in that field. You can quite easily be running on the outside of the lane, and, you know, when you've got 4 bends, it adds up, you know, especially when you're tired towards the end of that race. But hopefully all the athletes will follow that fast pace, and that actually helps because everyone can flow. You've got enough space to run, and you know it doesn't break your stride. So the pacemakers, of which there are 2, have definitely gone off at the speed that they're supposed to, and you can tell straight away by the way this field is strung out. Everyone is putting their foot down, and no one is messing around on this one.
Well, Ignacio Fontes of Spain is the one who's latching onto the back of them at the moment, the European Under-23 champion from 2019. Also Samuel Abate of Ethiopia, the tall figure, currently in 4th position, a 3:36 athlete at his best. Marcin Lewandowski around about halfway back in the sort of camouflage green, if you like, at the moment. We can't spot him, he's just hugging the inside there. But Sikora, the pacemaker, due to take them through 1:06 at 500 metres. Didn't quite see around about where that was, that split time, but he's still going. He's gone beyond his 500 metres expectation as Shavinsky stands by to take over. Fontes, Abate and Gomez then, the next 3, as eventually Sikora steps off, and it's down to Adam Shavinsky at the front.
Well, it's hard to decide where to place yourself in a race like this, of course. And I always look at Lewandowski, you know, both the Polish athletes, him and Adam Kaszot, they've been great for the last decade, really, of working out where to be in a race. And I'm just watching him moving up. I think when the race is going pretty well, it's actually good to kind of be mid-pack, take people off bit by bit, but just looking at the pace now, we're expecting around about 1:53 at 800 metres and 1:53.5. The two pacemakers have done a fantastic job so far.
Sierwicki spot on with the help of that wave-like technology on the inside as well. Filip Sasanek is the one behind the raft of Nike blue at the moment in the white and black, the national champion of the Czech Republic. Also, Michal Rozmis of Poland, currently in 5th position behind the pacemaker, followed by Lewandowski. Then comes Denisel of France in the yellow and black. Those the leading 5 or 6 at the moment as Sierwicki steps off, having done his pace job at about 1,000 metres of 2:21. And it's over to those at the front, headed by the Spaniard Jesus Gomez with his compatriot Ignacio Fontes in 2nd place. Abate of Ethiopia is 3rd, then comes Sasanek, but Rozmis on the outside and Lewandowski currently in 5th position.
Yeah, and it was Gomez who decided to take up the pace with 500 metres to go. He's been so impressive, and I really enjoyed watching him race indoors this season. He's a 2-time European indoor 1,500 metre bronze medalist. So not only has he got a quick time against his name, 3:33.07, that was back in Monaco in 2020, he can also pick up the silverware.
Now the moves are on then. Lewandowski starts to get himself within sight with 200 metres to go. Gomez from Rozmis, Lewandowski ready to strike. Sasanek trying to get himself into a strong position. Charles Greffin of Luxembourg in the blue, white and red is also running a storm around the outside. But Lewandowski still looks comfortable as they straighten up. Now he starts to work. Lewandowski gets moving, challenging Gomez. Lewandowski won't be let past at the moment. Eventually now as Rozmis starts to fade. Marcin Lewandowski been kept up to his work, but he will take it comfortably with a look round in the end. 3:55.38 for Marcin Lewandowski. Impressive performance in the home straight there. He looked like he had enough in the tank as he straightened up, but just was kept up to his work in the end by the performance in 2nd place of the Spaniard Jesus Gomez, who finished in 3:35.70. Lewandowski.
Well, a great competitive race, and Gomez really went to the front with 500 metres to go when the pacemaker dropped out. But if any young athletes are watching this, I would always tell them to watch Marcin Lewandowski. He times it so well. He doesn't panic, he doesn't go to the front, he trusts himself. And when I think back to that first medal that he won in, I think it was the European Championships back in Barcelona 2010. He's been going and winning medals for 11 years now. He's really stood the test of time, and he just keeps on getting better.
Well, here was the moment he just had to work because Gomez wouldn't quite go away on the inside. Abate finished very strongly to equal his lifetime best, 3:36.32. And I mentioned Charles Greffin of Luxembourg, who, again, came to the fore in the last 300 metres or so. He's only clocked himself a national record of 3:36.75 for Charles Greffin, which is a best part of 3 seconds off his personal best from back in 2017 for the Luxembourg athlete. So Lewandowski showing that he's still got it. 33, I'm writing people off at 33, I'm well beyond 33, but not a professional athlete. There's confirmation of that PB, an equal PB for Abate, matching his previous performance from France a couple of years ago in that exciting men's 15. In the main shot, Victor Peterson. Coming towards the conclusion of this men's shot put, by the way, as that one heads out towards the 21-metre line, maybe just shy of it for the Swede. As we mentioned, the World Under-20 Championship silver medalist from a couple of efforts back. He threw the Olympic standard, by the way, indoors in his native Sweden at 21:13 this winter. If you haven't been watching the Continental Tour Gold, by the way, you might not have heard us in past meetings in the US and Japan talking about the way that the Olympic qualifying works, as that from Mihailovic goes sailing out towards 22 metres. But the international qualifying window for performances has been open since May 2019. It shut in the summer of 2020 when there were limited competition opportunities, and therefore it was decided, in fairness to all athletes, that with some athletes certainly facing other restrictions, travel problems and competition limitations, that the window for qualifying performances will be closed. So there are some athletes who have performed to the Olympic standard, but unfortunately during a period when the qualification wasn't open, so may have to still throw it again, or perform it again, or jump it again. Stanek, who does have it in the locker, he's capable of a lot better than that. 20 metres or so, just struggling with a little bit of rhythm, Thomas Stanek. Today, he's had a couple of fouls in his series. As we say, capable of 22 at his best. That one was his third round show, that's recorded pictures. That was 20.11. And this actually is how things finished up in the men's shot put. There were a raft of fouls in the second half of the competition. Stanek fouled his rounds 4, 5 and 6, but it went to Filip Mihajlovic there with his best of 21.58 from Harisic, 21.30. Just saw a tantalising tease of the men's javelin athletes warming up in the centre of the arena there. That's coming up shortly, but first it's the women's 800 metres. Among the field, the European indoor champion, Keely Hodgkinson, the prodigious teenager from Great Britain. More experience outside her as we pick up, first of all, Klucha of the Czech Republic, who's sharing a lane with Ireland's Nadia Power. A lot of lane sharing going on in these packed fields. Nadia Power, who's currently down the bottom end of the Olympic qualifying places, so she could really do with the standard, but it's going to take a bit of an improvement from her as we see Fisinec of the Czech Republic alongside Diribe Welteji, the world junior champion from Tampere in Finland in 2018, the last staging of that event. Ran her lifetime best of 1:59.74 in that. I think they're going to be heading for around about 1:57, 1:58 pace in this. The Olympic qualifying mark is 1:59.50. Anita Horvat, versatile athlete over 200 and 400, testing herself further now at 800 metres, her weakest event. Sharing a lane with the 33-year-old world indoor silver medalist from 2014, Angelika Hitotska. There's Keely Hodgkinson of Great Britain, European indoor champion from Torun in Poland. The athlete from the north of England, as we see Gabriela Gajanova of the Czech Republic, Slovak Republic rather, alongside Lovisa Lint of Sweden. Another of those who doesn't have the qualifying mark and is currently 39th out of the 48 places available in the rankings. Hedda Hein, she doesn't have the standard either. She's a bit higher up the rankings. She's 26th out of 48, so she's got a little bit more wriggle room as it stands. The top 48 in the rankings, even if you don't have the standard, can make the Olympics. Top 3 per country, only 3 athletes per country are allowed into the team, maximum quota. Certainly well on the outside, we're going to give the pacemaker Katarina Haleva the brightest kit award of the day in the pink. She's the one tasked with taking them through around about 1:57, 1:58. And Noelle Yarrigo of Benin, 35 years of age, ran sub-2 in the Olympics in Rio. She also is short of the standard, but in the top 48 in the Olympic qualifiers. But good early season test for Keely Hodgkinson out of lane 4. The European indoor champion, we know she's in terrific shape. She actually ran a PB over 400 metres very recently as well. Various targets she could go for this year. She mentioned before about the European under-20s, the world under-20s, but she's thrown herself down for the Olympic Games and a possibility of a medal. And certainly she's going to be following that path. And the pacemaker, Haleva, will come over to take it up. Hodgkinson needs to be careful not to get herself boxed in, and she's got herself in a pretty good position in the early stages as well. Teji tucks in behind the pacemaker and Hein of Norway on the inside.
Well, it's a really competitive race, this one, and I think a lot of the women in this race wanted to go through faster than the meet director actually said. So it'll be interesting to see what the pacemaker did. Interesting when Keely Hodgkinson ran her personal best indoors, 1:59.03. The woman at the front is the woman who paced her to that one, so a really experienced pacemaker, and we think they're going to go through in around about 57.5 to 58 seconds and 58.17. Well, the pacemaker, she's done an absolutely fantastic job here. The Ethiopian wedgie is actually leading from Keely Hodgkinson. I can see Hein there in 3rd place. Lint is in 4th place. Hoffman in 6th place at the moment. But down the back straight now, what have these women got. We can see a real indication once they get to 600 metres if they're on for that sort of sub-2 minute clocking.
Well, Keely Hodgkinson has never run sub 2 minutes outdoors. As you mentioned, Jen, her personal best came indoors. 2:01.73 is her lifetime best, but she's gone sailing past Welteji now, and Keely Hodgkinson will be chasing that magic sub 2 barrier outside and looking extremely strong coming into the home straight from Welteji in second place, Hine, and also challenged by Lint third and fourth. But it's Keely Hodgkinson now, gritting her teeth, coming up towards the line. Can she get under that 2 minute barrier outside for the first time? She's looking strong to do it at the moment. Keely Hodgkinson laying down a marker, and she's gone sub 2 outdoors for the very first time. Better than sub 2, sub 1:59. What a performance from Keely Hodgkinson, the European indoor champion, makes her mark outdoors.
Well, it was an absolutely fantastic run, and this is where I've actually got to say I'm a little bit biased because my husband actually coaches Keely, and we came here, you know, trying to run that 1:58. It's a British junior record, and I think I've got my facts straight, saying it's actually a European junior record. So absolutely fantastic run there, 1:58.89, and there were some fantastic times behind her as well.
Wow, well, the previous best from Keely Hodgkinson was 1:59.03, ran in Vienna indoors earlier on this winter. So the first time in her life she's gone not only under sub 2:01, not only under sub 2, not only under 1:59, she's made it with a 1:58.89 performance. And that really does show people that Keely Hodgkinson is ready in this Olympic year. And you're right, Jen, you did extremely well there to keep your favoritism, if you like, out of it. And although her husband coaches, your husband coaches Keely, I think it's fair to say most people in British athletics will know that you have a very big part to play as well with your experience of 800 metres at the top level.
Yeah, well, she's been doing terrific in training, and looking at that time there, it's the 5th fastest time in the world. And I have to say, at 19 years of age, absolutely tremendous to see such a young athlete just, you know, taking the race by the scruff of its neck and going for it, and absolutely delighted for her.
So Keely Hodgkinson with what we think is a European junior record. Jenny Meadows' stats, I'm sure, are absolutely right, because Jen's got most of the numbers in her head, let alone on bits of paper and on computers. Jenny knows them all. So that is a terrific performance from Keely Hodgkinson ahead of Welteji. And Lint took the 3rd place. As we pick up the men's long jump with the home favourite, Radek Juska, who, as you can see, had a few issues in the early rounds with 3 fouls. This is round 4. Around about 7.5 metres there. Excellent indicator board there from the meet organisers as well in Ostrava, which had the world leading marks and personal bests on there as well. For the likes of Radek Juska. Pretty good on the board. Of course, the horizontal jumps rules are going to change later on this year from the start of November. When you see that plasticine now, which is often set at 45 degrees to mark a foul, the vertical plane is actually going to move to 90 degrees when the rules change on the 1st of November, just to make it basically a little bit more easy to perceive with the naked eye. Because often you'll see athletes who maybe visually are beyond the plane of the line, but don't make a mark in that plasticine, which is the current metric for determining a legal jump. So from the 1st of November, the long jump will become a 90-degree vertical plane, if you like, on the front edge of the takeoff board to be a legal jump. We pick up Benjamin Gfurler of Switzerland, who's had a good series so far in the mid 7 metres to upper 7 metres. And that is good again from Benjamin Gfurler. Best of 7.66 in the competition so far. It's going to challenge that, I think. Spot on the board. Doesn't matter what angle the board is if you land there. So we wait for that measurement for Benjamin Gfurler. It was an improvement, 7 metres and 73. That takes him into 2nd position. This is the man who's in the lead, though, Augustin Bay of France, 8.02. He jumped in the 2nd round. And pretty close to that again there. I think that's even more spot on the board than the previous jump even. So the athletes are nailing it. Probably does show you that conditions are pretty good. If athletes are able to hit their rhythm and their mark exactly like that, and that in fact was recorded pictures of his 2nd round leading mark of 8.02 for Augustin Bay. which was enough to take the win from Benjamin Gafurla, 773, and Radek Juska, after the early problems with 3 fouls, produced 762 to finish third. We've just seen an exciting women's 800 metres. It's the men's turn now. And again, a packed field. And again, they come from far and wide across Europe. For sharpeners, in a couple of cases, Amel Tuka, the world silver medalist there, will go out of lane 5. Jake Whiteman, European bronze medalist over his preferred event of 1,500 metres, also taking the opportunity to get some speed work into his legs. Adam Kashot, you might have seen on the first page as well. But from the inside, Jen, this is Adirsu Gurma of Ethiopia.
It is, and this is, we've had so much excitement in that women's equivalent, and there's talent in every single lane of this. This is Gurma. He's the African under-20 bronze medalist over this distance back in 2017. He takes that inside lane. Just seeing shots there of Adam Kashot. We've seen Martin Lewandowski already. He won the 1,500 metres. His compatriot Adam Kashot, he'll be one to watch in this. So from the inside of that lane, lane 2, Borkowski, Polish athlete. He took the silver medal at the European Indoors. Van Diepen, he took the equivalent over the 400 metres. He went in the World Relays last week. Great to see him competing there. Here is Adam Kashot, 2 times World Championship silver medalist. That was in 2015 and 17, and 3 times a European champion. So sharing the lanes here, we've got Mark English of Ireland. He's won multiple medals at European level, indoors and outdoors. Jake Whiteman, moving down to the 800 metres. He was 5th at the 1,500 metres in Doha. Tuka, well, look at that personal best, 1:42.51. 2-time World Championship medalist, got a silver in Doha. Really relaxed, 2 competitors having a little bit of a chat there in lane 6. Don't know whether they're talking about tactics. We've got Sejna on the inside. He's from the Czech Republic. And we've got Ordoznes, this Spanish athlete, world indoor champion, bronze medalist, sorry, over the 800 metres. Fantastic personal best, 1:43. Got Dobek. He was a surprise European indoor champion over this distance. Transitioned really well from the 400 metre hurdles. And just saw a glance there of Fitzsimmons from Ireland. Max Bergin on the inside of lane 8. Same age as Keely Hodgkinson. He won the European under-18 title 3 years ago now. Can he follow what Keely Hodgkinson's just done? And Plasek, he'll be the pace. He's on the outside of lane 8. So 2 laps of the track. The pacemaker is taking them to 400 metres in 50 seconds and hopefully getting to 500 metres in 64. So it's another busy field. See the pacemaker on the outside of lane 8. He's really heard off. And Max Bergin, well, he could do no different than just follow him. Really hard when you're on that outside lane. You don't know what anyone's doing inside of you. So Bergin follows. English has started off well. We can see Whiteman get himself in there as well, as the pacemaker's gone through in a very swift time there through 200 metres.
Well, a few will have their eye on the Olympic qualifying mark in this event, which is 1:45.2. The only guys with it are Jake Whiteman, who's not chasing this event for the Olympics, Amel Tuka and Kashot. Everybody else is chasing that Olympic qualifying mark. And Max Bergin, as you say, the British teenager, looking to follow up Keely Hodgkinson. Great big race experience for these guys on the continent. Has gone chasing the pacemaker as they take the bell in 50.2.
Well, the pacemaker's done exactly what he thought he should do. And Max Bergin, I've seen him run from the front. He's ran a 1:44.75 last year, back in May, on his own from the front. I know he normally goes through in about 51 seconds, but he's absolutely took the bull by the horns here. And Max is really trying to just make sure he can get that Olympic qualification time of 1:45.20, but going through 600 metres there in 1:16.
So it's Bergin of Great Britain from his compatriot Whiteman. Tony van Diepen of the Netherlands moves into second place. Can Max Bergin keep this going all the way to the line? 1:45.2, that Olympic qualifying time. Van Diepen is chasing that as well, but it's still Max Bergin.
Yeah, Max Bergin with 30 metres to go. Don't look round, Max, you've got it. I think he's surprised to be taking the win here, and it's going to be a huge personal best. 1:44.17. It's a world lead for Max Bergin. And look at him. He saw his teammate and compatriot Keely Hodgkinson go and run a huge career best. What is it with these 19-year-olds? They're just coming out and running these fantastic times. He's promised so much for so long. And I think he's just really put himself in the mix there. 1:44.14, a long time in coming for Max Bergin to establish himself on the senior circuit. He can't quite believe it. He doesn't know what to do. Arms aloft. Enjoy it, Max. What a terrific, terrific run.
Well, athletes around him wait for the big screen to show whether they've nicked inside the qualifier, because there are a lot of them that are close. Max Bergin, though, I think the word to describe that run is fearless. He really did attach himself onto the pacemaker of Plasek, and despite a lot of the international ability behind him, the likes of Kashot and Tuka and Whiteman, and even the likes of O'Donnell and Mark English as well, Philip Schneider, there's so much international experience behind him. But Max Bergin is like, I don't worry about them, I'm just going to do my own thing. And we mentioned about people running the qualifier, Jem, when the window was closed. Well, Max Bergin did that, didn't he? In Manchester last summer, he ran 1:44.75, which unfortunately for him didn't count as a standard because the window was closed.
Yeah, and you know, I think actually being drawn in the same lane as a pacemaker might have done him the world of good. He just followed him and thought, well, actually, I'm just going to get out. It really made me laugh when he looked around. I think he wasn't expecting to take that victory. This race was full of quality in every single lane, and we had people sharing lanes. But that last 30 metres, when he did look around, saw there was no one anywhere near him, he started enjoying it, didn't he? And dug deep, 1:44.17. Gosh, world lead, another 19-year-old. Can't quite believe it, but these are happy memories for him, and I'm sure everyone who's been involved with him will be loving this. He's had a few injuries the last couple of seasons, really was frustrated not to go to the European Junior Championships a couple of years ago. He had to watch a British 1-2-3 there whilst he was sat at home, but Max Bergin has established himself on this world stage, and I'm sure that's a sight that he'll love to see. The WL next to his name, world lead in first place.
Huge performance from Bergin. Van Diepen agonising, missed the Olympic standard by 0.16 of a second there as well. The likes of Bukowski agonisingly just outside as well. Jake Whiteman, who's been out training in Flagstaff, coached by his father Jeff, will I'm sure be grateful to get that 800 metres in his legs as well as he prepares for the face-off over 1,500 metres. The 8 and 15 is not a double that is realistic at the championships. Athletes who are capable of doing the 15 and the 5 are certainly more likely to double up, but the 8 and 15 just isn't possible at the moment with the way the schedule is. The triple jump, wow. Another contest which is sure to be fascinating between this man, Fabrice Zongo, and the Olympic and world champion, Christian Taylor. Zongo, of course, has already landed himself a world indoor record this year of 18 metres and 7 centimetres. The head-to-head between Christian Taylor and Fabrice Zongo is 9-1 in Taylor's favour. I know Taylor's been around a lot longer, but all of a sudden now he's had Will Clay to worry about for quite a while. And now, Jenny, he's definitely got Zongo knocking at his door.
He has, and we were listening to the press conference, weren't we, yesterday, Chris? And, you know, Zongo, he just seems so full of confidence. He talked about seeing Christian Taylor for a number of years, knew that had to be their kind of benchmark, and he's really established himself with that world indoor record earlier this year, 18:07. He's talking of 18:50. It's unbelievable what he thinks he can do in this event, and we're desperate to see it.
We certainly are. We'll come back to that very shortly and talk more about that as we see some of the athletes limbering up for the 3,000 metres steeplechase, which will include Getnet Varley, the world 4th placer from Doha. As you can see as we scroll down, that's the first page of the athletes. A couple more to come, including the pacemaker on page 2. The pace they're looking for this, by the way, is at 7:58. So Getnet Varley is aiming for his first sub-8-minute run. That is what he's asked for. The Olympic qualifier for this event is 8:22. So, as you can see from the personal best of a few of these guys, it is within reach for a lot of them. There's Albert Chemutai, who's already got himself a major championship experience. World Under-20 finalist in Tampere, also Commonwealth Games finalist as well. Uganda having a real purple patch with his distance running at the moment. Phil Norman of Great Britain there as well, who's one of those doubling up very quickly. He'll be doing the Diamond League steeplechase in Gateshead in the northeast of England on Saturday as the Wonder Diamond League gets underway. As we mentioned earlier, and I was going to mention it when we saw Max Bergingen, that the Continental Tour Gold and the way it's evolving is it's giving the athletes, the likes of Max Berg, you know, it's a big leap to get straight into a Diamond League field, isn't it? But the Continental Tour Gold is providing top-level meetings, more accessible for the athletes up and coming, the likes of Max Bergin and Keely Hodgkinson, although she'll be finding herself in Diamond Leagues.
Yeah, and I know Max Bergen's tried to do some Diamond Leagues before, and he's always said it's not quite worked out for him. But you know, if you look at the competition in this Continental Tour Gold, even looking down the silver and the bronze, athletes want these levels of competition, and actually they are Diamond League standards. So it's amazing to see so many athletes desperate to compete, such high quality fields. As we've already spoke about, you know, 17 in some of the races. So yeah, absolutely fantastic, and it's been a great addition to the World Athletics Series.
Just scrolling through some of the athletes here, Getnet Varley, as I say, the fourth placer in Doha in the final behind the winner consensus Kipruto, Ciapinelli of Italy, Zoglami of Italy, Grau of Germany, Phil Norman, Great Britain, Abdul Vahid of Italy, Ruiz of Spain, Sikowo of Uganda, and on the inside, Vish of the Czech Republic. Again, we'll come on to it in a second, but only a handful of these athletes have got the Olympic qualifying mark as it stands. Starting halfway down the back in front of that barrier. 28 barriers plus the 7 water jumps ahead of these athletes in the men's 3,000 metres steeplechase. Okay, they bypass the water jump on this first circuit, but those cones will be removed and they will take it next time around. And that wave-like technology you can see on the inside. If you're just tuning in, joining us, myself, Chris Temple, and the multiple major championship medalist over 800 metres, Jenny Meadows. The wave-like technology, the red for the pacemakers at the front, which is Abdelaziz Merzougui of Spain. And the green is more of a guide for the athletes in behind, and that is actually following the time pace they're asking for as they come towards the barriers. And Varley looks like he's going to follow this pacemaker as he aims for his first ever sub-8 clocking.
Yeah, it does, and it's nice that he's actually decided to follow the pacemaker, because it's very difficult to get a pacemaker over the steeplechase, of course, because you have to be a steeplechase specialist to be able to do this. It's a real skill, but I think this wave-like technology will really come in more and more. Interesting, Chris, that Bram Som, who's been such a great pacemaker for a number of years, he's actually involved with the development of this, and I do believe it's his company, or he was certainly involved in the engineering of bringing that here. This is the first time they've ever had it in the Czech Republic, and it's great. I've actually been saying to you earlier, wasn't I, Chris, you know, Bram Som is now retired because he can't do the job. He's designed something that can.
Yeah, if you can't be Bram Som, make some Bram Som lights. They'll do the job for you. This is coming from Jenny Meadows, who herself was a top Diamond League pacer at the latter end of her career as well. So Getnet Varley has certainly laid his stall out here to go with the pacemaker Merzougui. The target pace, as we say, is 7:58. In this event, the Olympic qualifier is 8:22. The meeting record, by the way, which would be a realistic target if they're following the pace, is 8:02.55 in this event. As we pick up the early stages of the men's javelin, Kashawn Walcott, who is the Olympic champion from London 2012, bronze medalist from Rio 2016. He's got his Caribbean colleague, Anderson Peters, the world champion from Grenada, and Johannes Vetter of Germany, who's already gone 90 metres plus this season. Here's Walcott. Now over 80 metres from Kashawn Walcott. He was actually the man who inspired Anderson Peters, who saw his performance at London 2012 and thought, you know what? I've been doing a bit of track and field, but I'm now going to specialise in the javelin, and he specialised to great effect by winning a surprise gold, no doubt about it, in Doha. When Johannes Vetter had been battling with all sorts of injury problems. He's had a tough couple of years, Johannes Vetter. But certainly the German powerhouses, as we see the pacemaker step off there in the men's steeple. His target was 2:39 at 1,000 metres, so he's going to have done his job somewhere there or thereabouts, Jen. We just missed when they went through 1,000.
Yeah, I think we only just picked up the images.
2:42 actually it was. It's just outside 2:39.
Yeah, so that ambitious target of 7:58, it looks like they're a little bit off that, like we say. It actually looks like we're about what Wale's PB is. That stands at 8:05. That's back from 2019. So he now faces 2,000 metres and steeplechase barriers and the water jumps. It's a long way to try and attack your personal best, but let's see what he's got. He's been ambitious enough to go with the pace over that first 1 kilometre. And like we say, just under 5 laps to go now.
So the others in behind will know exactly what they've got to do. Those who have the Olympic standard, Getnet Vale has it, Albert Chemutai of Uganda has it, Daniel Arce of Spain has it, and Osama Zoglami of Italy has it. So only 3 of that chasing group have the Olympic qualifier of 8 minutes 22, which is around about 67 per lap for those guys. But it's Vale who leads by, what's that, the best part of probably 80 metres, maybe, there or thereabouts, from that cluster of around about 9 guys currently in second position. As you say, it's going to be a lonely couple of 1,000 metres for Vale, but if he can go sub-8 or maybe pinch the meeting record, as Chemutai heads that second leading group from Abdel Wahid in the yellow of Italy, hugging the curb. In fact, well, Abdel Wahid currently just in second position, the national champion of Italy. Here's the world champion in the men's javelin, who waits for those athletes to go through, Anderson Peters of Grenada. Best performance so far this year is 82.72. Lifetime best, as you can see, is 87.31. So he hasn't quite joined that 90 club yet. I suspect it's coming. He's only 23. Still lots more to come. And goodness me, I thought that was sailing further than that. It just died at the last minute. But 80 metres there, a solid enough opening start for Anderson Peters, who, like Walcott, will be heading from the Czech Republic to the UK for the Diamond League on Saturday. But he will know that the Germans will want to prove a point. The likes of Vetter, who's in action here, the likes of Thomas Röhrle, the Olympic champion, the likes of Andreas Hoffmann, Bernhard Seifert as well. All of those guys will be keen to make a mark when we get to the Olympic Games. So Vale, still the leader. Phil Norman of Great Britain has taken up the lead of that chasing pack now from Abdel Wahid on the inside. Zoglami in the blue is one of those who has the standard, as does Arce, the red shorts, the Spaniard. Chemutai just tucked in behind in the black as well. Phil Norman running a good race at the moment for Great Britain, chasing his Olympic dream. He works testing poles for a communication company in the southwest of England alongside his Olympic dream. It's an unlikely job for a lot of athletes, bit of danger attached to it as well, but he was designated as a key worker during the COVID-19 pandemic, so he's been working all the way through, keeping the communication systems working. And there is Phil Norman in the black for Great Britain, but it's Zoglami now who's doing his turn at the front of that chasing pack. And this is I guess those 4 have just started to stretch away from the rest, Jen, as they chase that time.
Yeah, well, they're working well together, aren't they? And the Olympic qualifying is 8:22. And like you say, only a couple of guys have actually got that so far. I think this has actually been the highlight, this event for me, of some of these Continental Tour meets. We've seen some really high-quality races, both in Eugene and in Mount Sac, where numerous athletes did get under that 8:22 barrier. But this chasing pack just have to keep working together. It almost doesn't matter what they finish, as long as the time is almost more significant than the placing. So it's interesting just to see different athletes going to the front, trying to keep this pace honest, and 8:22 is what we're chasing from this pack behind.
The time difference at 2,000 metres for Getnet Vale, he was at 5:25. These guys needed to be at 5:34, so you can almost judge it off what he's doing out front without seeing the direct splits on the screen. They need to be within about 9 seconds of what he does. 7:05 at the bell for Getnet Vale, chasing that meeting record. Of course, he's going to have it all to do, unfortunately, in the second half of the race. That's slipping away from him now, but these guys are chasing 8:22, and they're pretty much on pace, Jen.
Yeah, I've got my little pacing chart, and they're more or less bang on the schedule. They just have to keep working now. As we see Vale there, he's working his way. He's got about 250 metres to go. We can see the grimace on his face, but that grimace on his face is always there from the beginning with this athlete. That is just how Vale runs. He always attacks it from the very beginning, and he's got just under 200 metres to go. This is his last water jump. Oh, and he makes it safely, and he just needs to keep pumping those arms. So unfortunately, that sub 8 minutes has gone now. Only 12 men in history have ever done that, and we're just under 30 seconds to go here. We've got 22 seconds on the clock for the chasing pack.
Well, Wale is storming away to victory here outside the 8-minute time that he hoped for. It's going to be a world-leading time for the Ethiopian Getnet Wale, but keep your eye on the clock for this chasing pack. 8:22 is the Olympic qualifier. Phil Norman in the black for Great Britain. Zoglami already has it. Phil Norman needs to duck under 8:22, and he's going to do so. Phil Norman has the Olympic qualifier, and very close in behind. There's a possibility that Abdul Wahid may well have ducked under 8:22 as well. He needed the standard. So the guys in the chasing pack, as you said, as Phil Norman is confirmed with 8:20.12. That is what he needed. Zoglami already had it. You can see what it means to the British athlete Phil Norman. Job done in Ostrava for him. And Arce of Spain, he already had the standard, 8:21.53. Abdul Wahid in 5th position needs the standard, and I can tell you 8:21.54, he has got it, personal best.
Well, that chasing pack, we were rewarded for their effort, weren't we? And it was great to see Phil Norman come into that 2nd place, but they all really worked hard together, the guys who were going round in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th positions, and we can see some really tired bodies outstretched on the track, and a lot of people came just for that qualification. Placing didn't matter, the time did, but Wale didn't have that target, of course. He was trying to get under 8 minutes for the first time. Do think it was an ambitious target. Only 12 men have ever got under that 8-minute target, but 8:09, that's a huge season's best for him. It's a world lead, and he will be dangerous 11 weeks' time in Tokyo.
Yeah, and that is the comfortably the best time in the world this year, as you mentioned, by about 6 seconds or so. So he gets the world lead banner as well. But a great night for some of the other guys in behind who, you've got to say, paced it to absolute perfection. You don't need to burn yourself out chasing something ridiculous. Just get yourself under that 8:20 mark. And as you can see there, Norman did it. He needed it. Abdul Wahid, he needed it. Unfortunately, the likes of Sikowo missed out. But that group of 2, 3, 4 and 5 really did help each other, I think, in spurring them on to that Olympic qualifying mark, and that'll give Phil Norman great confidence for the Diamond League on Saturday. Back we go to the men's javelin then. You're live with us in Ostrava, the 60th Golden Spike with myself, Chris Temple, and Jenny Meadows, live across the World Athletics YouTube channel and wherever you're joining us around the world. We are now in the men's javelin with Jakub Vadlec of the Czech Republic. That's around about 81, 82 metres for Vadlec. Olympic qualifying mark in this event is 85 metres. Vadlec already has that mark. So does Peters, so does Walcott. So does Friedrich of the Czech Republic as well, who we haven't seen as yet. And so does Johannes Vetter as well, who we will get a look of very shortly. And of course, this is one of the spiritual homes of javelin, this stadium, Jem, with Jan Železný. Of course, the #1 all-time. The stadium record will be of interest to Johannes Vetter today, I'm sure. 94.64, Jan Železný. Set that in 1996. But Johannes Vetter, who's already gone beyond 90 metres this year, what's he got in Ostrava? Oh, goodness me, that's what Johannes Vetter has got in round 1. Wow! Goes sailing out over 90 metres. His face wouldn't tell you, but where the javelin landed does. An almighty start for Yo-Yo. Well, we wait for the measurement of that one. We mentioned the stadium record of 94.64 held by Jan Železný. Is that going to be close? 94.20, just underneath that mark. But what a throw from Johannes Vetter in the first round. And that, by the way, is the 3rd farthest throw. We'll come back to that in a second, Jen, as we see Christian Taylor. I'm just getting the stats up there. It's certainly a massive world lead, let's put it that way, from Johannes Vetter. Here's Christian Taylor, meanwhile, in the men's triple jump. He's seen Zango post 17.14, and he got that one all wrong, Christian Taylor, in the first round. What do you make of that Vetter opening throw, Jen?
Well, I saw the marker of 90 metres and I was thinking it was 80, and then I realised he can actually hear the stadium announcer in the background, and he got very excited. They love the javelin throw in the Czech Republic. Huge history, of course, in that event, and great that they can showcase it. 94.20. I've never think I've actually experienced that live. So one of the greatest throws ever. What can he do in the final few rounds?
Well, I got a bit excited with his earlier on. It's actually the 7th furthest throw in history, but it's his 3rd best ever of his life. So that was round 1. What's he got in round 2? Any more? Full roll this time. Oh, it's over 90 again. It's not quite as far, but 2 post 90-meter throws for the man known on Twitter as Yo-Yo Javelin. I tell you what, the likes of Andreas Hoffmann and Thomas Röhler and a couple of others who are watching on, maybe even watching us right now, will see Johannes Vetter, who, as we mentioned, had a terrible 2018 and 19 with injury and personal circumstances as well, off the back of a very difficult year, like everybody with the pandemic. And he has come absolutely blazing out. Of course, he threw 91 to win the European Throwing Cup in Split in Croatia just a couple of weeks ago. Back we go to the triple jump and Christian Taylor, who got his first round all wrong. Quite clicking for Christian Taylor yet, who does like to start his season off a shorter approach. His coach and a rider, of course, they've been doing a lot of work out in Florida. Christian Taylor coming over to Europe, as he often does. Bases himself over here in the UK quite a bit as well. Wait for the measurement for that one for Christian Taylor. So that was round 3, 16:36. Only in 4th place at the moment, the Olympic and world champion. Well, I was really looking forward to the men's javelin. I was telling you beforehand, wasn't I, Jen, how much I was excited for the men's javelin. And Johannes Vetter hasn't let us down so far, but we're back on track with the men's 1 lap.
Yeah, so much action and so much great action on the field when we're seeing Vetter, then we're cutting straight to Christian Taylor. But this is the men's 400 metres. So in lane 1 from the Czech Republic, Jan Tessa. He's 3-time European Championship final in the 4x400 metres. Lots of experience. He's drawn lane 1. So Joachim Dobber, he was part of that World Relays win in the 4x400 metres, and also they took a win at the European Indoor Championships. So that Dutch squad really putting together a really good quartet. Can they feature in Tokyo? Well, this was another athlete, Eduardo Scotti of Italy. He's a World Championship finalist, and he was also a winner at the World Relays in the mixed 4x4. That Italian squad surprised everyone in that one. Well, this is a face and a name that doesn't need any mention. Everyone will recognize his face. Pavel Mashlaf, 3 times world indoor champion over the 400 meters, multiple European champion as well. Only semi-finalist at the European Indoor Championships this year. Well, in lane 5, Karani James. He was the London 2012 Olympic champion. He was a silver medalist last time in Rio. He'll be looking to feature in Tokyo. Already started really well, sub 45 seconds. Bernard Norwood, well, he goes in lane 6 for the USA. Very experienced, multiple medalist in that 4x400 meters. He's gone sub 45 already this season as well. Another athlete, part of that Dutch squad, Lieven Bonvivesa, 32 years of age so far this time. He's a national record holder. And in lane 8, drawn in the outside lane from the Czech Republic, that's Patrick Sorm. He's a World Championship finalist indoors, and he's got that lane 8. So Mashlaf, what has he got? He's competed in Ostrava for a number of years, of course. This is home turf for him. He goes in lane 4. He's got Scotti inside him, Dobber inside him, Karani James just outside him, and he's got Norwood outside him in lane 6. So all those centre lanes, we're expecting all the action to come from there. So it's a clean start. James has gone off well there in lane 5. Norwood's chasing down in lane 6 as well. He looks like he's started well. Mashlav with just a couple of meters back on them. Dobber, he looks like he's started well in lane 2. Scotty generally does start quite slow in lane 3, but watch him for the second part of the race. So James it is, and Norwood there in lane 6. James from Norwood with 100 meters to go. Dobber on the inside, working really hard, and now watch Scotty come through in lane 3. But it is Karani James who looks like he's going to finish the strongest. Norwood outside him, and Dobber, I think, just in 3rd place. 44.76. So another sub 45 second for Karani James. Well, this is his first time in Europe this season. And just rounded down by a couple of hundredths there, 44.74. Norwood just outside 45 seconds, 45.28. And he just finished just a couple of hundredths ahead of Dobber there in 45.30. Well, we're just looking again at 200 meters gone. James did manage to see Norwood outside him. That helps, of course, when your biggest rival is just outside you and you can actually see them. Dobber was going really well on that inside lane there in lane 2. But Karani James, he just had half a meter, didn't he, off the turn. But it was that last 50 meters where he managed to power away, so strong in the second half of the race. And there he was, crossing the line, a season's best, 44.74 seconds, fractionally faster than what he has ran in Phoenix and Arizona just last month.
2012 Olympic champion, looking in good shape, Karani James. 28 now. Grenada's two most famous athletes in the same stadium this evening. He was Grenada's first Olympic medalist in any sport, and of course Sanderson Peters in the javelin took the World Championship gold as well to add to Grenada's emergence on the athletics map. But Karani James, still not, what, 9 years on now from his Olympic medal, 44.74, another sub 45 clocking. Lifetime best for Joachim Dobber, 45.3. And Maslach, well, two-time Olympian. He's got some work to do. Or most of his best work, of course, has come indoors. He's got 6 major titles indoors. If he wants to make a 3rd Olympics, he's got to find a 2nd from somewhere, maybe even more than that. Kershawn Walcott, meanwhile, in the men's javelin. Is he inspired by Vetter, sailing out over 90 meters twice? Not quite yet. Low 80s for Kershawn Walcott, the 2012 Olympic champion, like the man we've just seen win, Karani James. Johannes Vetter, by the way, in the men's javelin, as we said, through the 7th longest in history, the 3rd furthest of his life. Only Jan Zelezny has thrown further than what Vetter has produced today. He's passed his 3rd round throw. Just taking a moment as we spot the athletes on the track preparing for the women round the curve. The women's 200 meters, the white tracksuit bottoms there. You've got a glimpse of sha'carri Richardson of the USA, one of the most exciting athletes in world athletics at the moment. And interesting, Jen, we were listening to the press conference yesterday, and one of our colleagues named her as sha'carri, and she was quick to point out, no, it's sha'carri.
Always good when an athlete can tell you that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when they're on the rise and you can get it right from the beginning. But she's been so impressive, hasn't she? Over 100 and 200 meters so far this season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what she can do here. Her first time in Europe competing at a high-level meeting. And yeah, she's certainly produced some amazing times. Those 2 10.7s just last weekend in Mount Sac. A headwind as well, so a lot of statistics, a lot of people who look at the stats were getting really excited trying to work out what she would have done with a flat wind or the wind behind her, and I think 10.57 was mentioned, and we've not seen those sorts of times for, well, hardly ever, so really interesting to see how she can go over this 200 metres today.
Yeah, those who are clever at the stats things equated that performance into a headwind to a 10.57 with still conditions, if you like, as we see Mujinga Kambunji there, who is running over her preferred distances of 100 and 200 for the first time outdoors this season. Closer to the camera is Jana Slaninova of the Czech Republic, who's getting introduced while she's still getting changed. But sha'carri Richardson, well, she's got Daphne Skippers just on her outside in lane 6. the 2 times world champion. Of course, Richardson's performance at 100 metres over 10.7, she's going to square up against Elaine Thompson-Herah and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price and Dina Asher-Smith over 100 metres, Richardson, in the Diamond League in Gateshead on Saturday. So that is going to be mouth-watering. But it's around the curve for her today. As we see, Kambundji has the Olympic standard of 22.8, as does Daphne Skippers. A season opener for her over 200 metres outdoors. Olympic silver medalist from Rio last time out in the Olympics. So Sha'carri Richardson, number 6 all-time over the 100 metres, the 21-year-old. Can she crack 22 seconds for the first time? Last time we saw her last week, she had blue hair. She's gone back a bit more conventional this time around. But certainly a flamboyant character and making waves. Blessing Okekbare at the other end of her career, 11 years the senior of Richardson outsider, the Olympic silver medalist from the long jump. 5 times she's tasted World Championship finals, disqualified in the World Champs in the 200 heats. Alexandra Berghardt, who's set a PB this year, as you can see on the screen there, of 23 flat. The Olympic qualifying mark is certainly within reach of the German. 22.8 is what you need for the Olympic standard. The under-23 European silver medalist, Ladra Vondrova, Czech Republic. 23.4 set last summer, her personal best. And Victoria Forster of the Slovak Republic on the inside. Great experience for her, the 19-year-old as well. To get a lane in a Continental Tour Gold meeting in Ostrava, the 60th Golden Spike. So Richardson last weekend blazed it over 100 metres. What she got, double the distance, with one of the legends, Daphne Skippers, just outside her. Women's 200 metres, Continental Tour Gold, live from Ostrava in the Czech Republic. Well, one of the features of Richardson's runs last week was how strongly she came in the second half of those 100 metres. Kambundji has gone out strongly, but Richardson now up on the inside of Daphne Skippers and leads by a metre into the straight. It's Sha'carri Richardson on her inside, Okekbare trying to get involved as well, and still Daphne Skippers in third, but it's Sha'carri Richardson now. Keep an eye on that clock. Can she clock sub 22? Just outside this time, seems to be taking it pretty easy up towards the finish line. Sha'carri Richardson, 22.36. Making statements again, Sha'carri Richardson.
Well, she has made a statement, especially finishing ahead there of Okekbare and Skippers. She's certainly introduced herself on this world stage. Never made a championship team before. And she looks like she's one of the athletes that we've just got to say, you know, for that 100 metres particularly, can anyone beat her? You know, it does look like that's her favourite event, but here we see the race again. It was actually Kambundji out in lane 7, the European bronze medalist from a few years ago, over 200 metres, who started particularly well, but this is just where Richardson starts to take over. She's almost got a goose step stride, but so high at the same time, and look at that focus. She's got her eyes all the way on that line there. I've never particularly seen an athlete with so much focus. And Okekbare is a strength-based athlete, and even her could not rein her back in at that line. A great win, and she's certainly introduced herself in 2021 as one of those real prospects for Tokyo.
You can see the relaxation in her face there to make sure that everything is, the muscles are all operating at their premium. When you keep yourself relaxed, there was a little look down there as well. So I think that is a performance with plenty more to come, isn't it? And probably with half an eye on the Diamond League big showdown on Saturday, do you think?
Yeah, that looks a really good one, doesn't it? I know Dina Asher-Smith is going there for the 200 metres as well, and yeah, mouth-watering. I'm glad I'm not in this event and I don't have to compete against these girls. They're all running really well at the same time, which is great to see.
So Sha'carri Richardson, 22.35. Okekbare, 22.59, and Kambundji taking third. But that is an absolutely mouth-watering showdown on Saturday in the Wonder Diamond League. Men's triple, Max Hess. This is round 4 for him. Modest 14.75 so far. Oh, that's a bit more like it for Max Hess. Getting nearer to that 17-meter line. Christian Taylor's not having it his own way today, by the way. 16.36. He's currently in 5th position as it stands, as we see Max Hess pretty good on the board. World Indoor silver medalist from Portland in 2016, 16.97, so it was closer to that 17-meter line. That's his season's best, and his personal best is 17.20, so encouragement for him. Fabrice Zango then, from Burkina Faso. They may well be tuning in Burkina Faso, in Ouagadougou, the capital, and further afield to watch one of their brightest stars. The first African to hold a world record in the jumping event with that world indoor record of 18.07. His first round best of 17.14. Looking similar again, around about 17 meters. Maybe just slightly further for Zango, who, as I mentioned earlier on, has only beaten Christian Taylor once in their 10 head-to-heads. And that was on the Continental Tour Gold in Hungary last year. Which is one of the further stops on this Continental Tour Gold, which also includes the Boston Boost Games coming up on Sunday from the US. Street meet, of course, that one. Something a little bit different, but certainly a lot of big stars confirmed for that, as we see Zango 17.20, a slight improvement on his first round to extend his lead over Hess, who's currently in 2nd position. Men's javelin, Vitezle Fischeli of the Czech Republic, former world champion in 2013. Quite a bit has happened, I think it's fair to say, since the 38-year-old lifted that world crown. Just short of that 80-meter line. Through 75-73 in the European Throwing Cup in Split, which was the weekend before last. Upwards of 88 meters when he was at the peak of his powers back at London 2012. We mentioned, by the way, Vetter's 2 90-meter throws and then passing through in round 3. Jan Železný, the great Czech athlete. I'll come back to that in a second. Let's see Anderson Peters first of all. Round 4. That one just coming shy of 80 meters for Anderson Peters, so the wrong side of the line as far as he's concerned. Jan Železný, he's thrown 90 meters plus on 34 occasions, or he did in his career, the world record holder. Johannes Vetter is next on the list, with the 2 he's added today, 15 90-meter plus throws. Just to show you how difficult it is to achieve 90 meters. Since the Rio Olympics, only Magnus Kurt, the world silver medalist from Estonia, and Cheng of Chinese Taipei, outside the German powerhouses, have thrown 90 meters plus in the last 5 years. So if you take out Vetter and Ruller and Hoffman, there's only 2 others who've managed it, and Anderson Peters is still chasing that elusive 90-meter throw. Defending his world title in Oregon. Spent a lot of his time in the US at the Mississippi State University. Keshawn Walcott. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the 90-meter club, but his came back in 2015. His performance so far today, 82.67, is his best. These are live pictures. Walcott currently in 2nd position, and this is his 5th round throw. 82.67, his best. Can he edge up towards 85? Not with that one, he won't. For a number of reasons, one of which is where it landed, the other one is he stepped over the line. Not happy, Keshawn Walcott. Not sure what the conditions will be like in Gateshead in towards the end of May, Jen. It's not known as the warmest place in the UK, Gateshead in the northeast, on the opposite side of the River Tyne from Newcastle.
No, and it gets a little bit windy there as well, doesn't it? But not often that we see a javelin thrower, you know, step over the line. He was just totally off balance from the start, but he's better. What can he do now in this round 5?
So Johannes Vetter, we're live in round 5, 94.20, the 7th longest throw in history in round 1, 88.53 in round 4. This is round 5. Well, it's close to 90 meters again. We normally see him go full length lying on the ground, don't you? So if you don't see him do that, you feel like he's held a bit back, but it just shows you as he looks nonplussed about that. He's still heading out towards 88 meters or so, despite the fact he didn't give us the full frontal there towards the ground.
I think it's really hard as well, you know, when you've thrown a throw 94.20, you know, where do you go from that? Obviously, you know, he's wanting to look after his body and he doesn't want anything to happen to it. But, yeah, it's not bad when you can do an 88 and not put your full body behind it, isn't it?
Here's Christian Taylor. It's his 5th year in a row, by the way, beyond 90 metres. Only Jan Železný has done it more times than Vetter, which is 6 times. Troubled by that ankle injury the last couple of years. A bit of floating bone in his left ankle, which they've eventually sorted out. Was rusty going into Doha due to that injury. Statements to be made at the Olympics. Christian Taylor. Oh, no, Christian. That doesn't look too good at all for Christian Taylor. Hasn't been looking that good for him all night, to be honest with you. He had a problem with his first round jump, and he's pulled up there. And I would be slightly concerned, Jen, if I was connected to Christian Taylor there, because that didn't look great.
No, these are worrying scenes. He was just totally off balance there, wasn't it? And it almost looked like his leg went, you know, from beyond him, maybe his hamstring. So you can see how he won't walk out of the pit straight away. So we'll come back to that one if we can.
Yeah, 4 times the world champion, twice an Olympic champion. No one's beaten him at a major event in the last few stagings, but we'll come back to that in a second. That was obviously designated as a foul. Men's 200 meters is next. Our penultimate track event. We've still got, after all the spectacular action we've had, the world record attempts by Joshua Cheptegei in the men's 3,000 meters to come. That's after this, which sees Kenny Bednarek out in lane 7. Stadium announcer just announced him as Aaron Brown, which is, I did have Aaron Brown listed on my start list in lane 7, but Kenny Bednarek is definitely there. And that definitely is Aaron Brown in lane 6. So not the first time we've seen the lane shuffled around at late notice. Doesn't make a commentator's life that easy, Jen, does it, when they start moving people around? But Jan Volko is in 5, all in black, the Slovakian national champion, 11 times. Now there's Fred Curley. Earlier on went sub-10 in the men's 100 meters. Can he go sub-20 in the 200 meters with 100 already in his legs and join that elusive club, that executive club, the elite club of sub-10, sub-20 and sub-44? William Race of Switzerland, he ran the Olympic qualifier during the shutdown of the window last summer of 20.24. Jan Jurka of the Czech Republic goes in 2. And right on the inside is Tomáš Nemec of the Czech Republic. So as you mentioned earlier on, if you weren't with us earlier on when Curley ran the 100 meters, only Michael Norman and Wade van Niekerk have gone sub-10, sub-20 and sub-44 in the men's 100, 200 and 400. Fred Curley ran 9.96 in the 100 meters earlier on. This, you would say, on the performances so far, is his weakest, in inverted commas, event. Bednarek has been in great form, edged out by Noah Lyles last weekend in Mount Sac, out in lane 7. Lifetime best of 1980. He's run quicker, windy. He ran sub-20 last week in that meeting in Mount Sac. So Polak closest to the camera, Bednarek, Brown, Volko, Curley, Race, Jurka and Nemec on the inside. So Bednarek with that familiar headband, one from the outside, will certainly lay it down as he did in Mount Sac to Noah Lyles last week. Aaron Brown on his inside. Fred Curley now starting to get into his running in the straight as well, but it's Bednarek, one from the outside at the moment. Aaron Brown and Curley chase him down, but it's Kenny Bednarek all the way through the line, and it's sub-20 again for Kenny Bednarek, 19.94, the unofficial winning time for the American. Rounded down, in fact, to 19.93, so Kenny Bednarek keeps churning out those sub-20s. Fred Curley, 20.94 1:26.27, just outside his lifetime best. So no improvement for him off the back of that 100 meters earlier.
Well, he's really introduced himself onto this world-class stage, hasn't he? And sub 20 seconds. I remember as a youngster, it was hardly ever when somebody used to break 20 seconds. It would be once a year in a championship. But these guys are doing it every single meet now. The season's best, 100th of a second faster than what he managed to run in Mount Sac. I think he likes the outside lanes. So here we go again from the start. This is Bednarik in lane 7. You can see with that white headband on, he got the best start, and he was him right from the very beginning, wasn't it? Aaron Brown went well round the bend. I thought Curly was going to come back. He's got the speed over 100 meters. He's run that 43 second, don't forget, over 400, but he just couldn't gain those final few meters on Bednarik.
Well, you mentioned about the sub-20s, Jen. Of course, that world record of Pietro Mineo from Mexico in 1979 stood for 17 years, didn't it? It was almost seen as an untouchable mark until Michael Johnson went 1966 in 1996 in Atlanta, which Bolt, of course, has since reduced to 1919. But yeah, it's almost, we'll get blasé about anything that starts with a 19 now, don't we?
Absolutely, and like I say, it was a once-a-year thing, but yeah, every single meet now, and it was great to watch him run last week. Noah Lyles just defeated him by a few hundredths of a second, but he takes the victory today from Curly and from Brown.
So we go back to the final round of the javelin with the world champion Anderson Peters. Modest effort for him so far, 80.86 in round 1 is the best he's produced. And that's better in the final round for Peters. It isn't better, but it's better. Somewhere around about 82, 83 by the look of it. So ending with a bit of confidence for Anderson Peters, who, as we said, is going to be heading for the Diamond League on Saturday with Kashawn Walcott. Johannes Vetter is not involved in the Diamond League in Gateshead on Saturday, but we'll see him in the coming meets. 83.39, so a considerable improvement on the day for Anderson Peters. That's a decent way to finish. Again, for a lot of these athletes, the likes of Kashawn Walcott, who've been competing either in their home nation, in Walcott's case, his only competition outdoors was in his native Trinidad and Tobago, where he threw 81.87. So the conditions are going to be a little bit different here in Europe than they'll have found either in competing in America or in the Caribbean. So it is going to take a little bit of time to get used to it, of course. By the time we get to Tokyo, we'll be back on the other end of things, and it'll be a bit warmer and more humid. Walcott in the final round. Looking to improve on 82.67. Looking similar. Looking similar. There's a mini Caribbean battle going on because Peters went past Walcott with that throw that we just saw to take second place behind Vetter. Can Walcott in the intra-Caribbean battle pinch second place back for Trinidad and Tobago? 82.75, he can't. So Kashawn Walcott, the 2012 Olympic champion, will finish in third place behind the reigning world champion Anderson Peters. So Johannes Vetter, 94.20 in round 1. The third furthest of his life. 91, not a bad consolation prize in round 2. Was it 2 90-meter throws on the same day? And even the high 88 meters. Next to round 1, a dwarfed. Last throw, literally, for Vetter. Short of 90 meters again, but in that 88 ballpark once more. Some series for Johannes Vetter, isn't it, in the very early stages of the season. 94.20, 91.33, a pass, and then a 2 or 3 in the 88-meter region. Johannes Vetter certainly has put all of his injury problems behind him, and he is gunning for gold. When you're watching the pictures, Jen, and you see the javelin in the backdrop of the sky there, and you haven't really got any perception of where or how far it's going, those couple of seconds until the camera pans down, It's like you hold your breath, don't you, to see where it's going to land.
Especially when you've got someone like Vetter throwing out the moment. That terrific World League confirmed there, 94.20 from Peters is 83.39 and Walcott 82.75. All season's best for all the competitors. Vetter, of course, with a world lead.
And the likes of Roller and Hoffman, Cypher still to launch their outdoor seasons properly. So our final track event then is the one that has been having a lot of people licking their lips. A potential world record attempt for Joshua Cheptegei. One of the older records in the book, the 1996 mark of Daniel Komen, is what Joshua Cheptegei is chasing this evening. More on that in a second as we see first of all Paul Chelimo, the Olympic silver medalist from Rio, over 5,000 meters. If anybody's going to try and live with the pace that Joshua Cheptegei is going to be setting here behind the pacemakers Richard Duma and Stuart McSwain, it's going to be Paul Chelimo, you would expect. Joshua Cheptegei, there he is, 3,000 meters. On the sharp side for him, the world record holder at 5,000, at 10,000. Already stepped up to the half marathon as well. Oscar Chelimo, his Ugandan compatriot, 19 years of age. Drawn inside at 5. His best is 7:44. No Olympic qualifiers, of course, because the 3,000 meters is not an Olympic event. So no qualifiers to chase here. As we see Abdesamad Oukhelfen of Spain, 22 years of age, European under-23 bronze medalist. Sean Tobin of Ireland there in the white. Isaac Kameli of Belgium, European indoor silver medalist over this distance in Turin already this year. And on the inside, Wojciech Kral of the host country, the Czech Republic. So then, Joshua Cheptegei already has the world 5,000 meters record, the 10,000 meters record, and the world best 5 kilometers on the road. Can he take down the 25-year-old record? Away we go. The pace, of course, is going to be fierce. They've been asked for 2:26 at 1,000 meters. Richard Duma, the first of the pacemakers, and Stuart McSwain. Well, you know when they fly him in to be a rabbit, Jen, they're serious about things here.
Well, when I actually looked at this start list, I couldn't actually believe that Stuart McSwain was the pacemaker. And then when I heard what sort of time they're trying to go to, I can understand why. Only a world-class athlete can set another athlete up for a pace like this. And if we look at Stuart McSwain, he's a 2-time Diamond League winner last year, over 1,500 metres. He's a Commonwealth finalist. He's actually ranked in the world's top 10 for this event. And very, very interestingly, his personal best is actually faster than Cheptegei's personal best at this one. So it shows you the sort of pace that we're looking for. And I think very early on from our first marker, we're thinking 59 seconds for that 400 metres. Well, it looks like it was 58.5. So they're up for it, aren't they?
Well, the track 1,500 metre specialist Richard Duma is doing the early work. The Dutchman taking them through to 1,000 metres. And as we predicted, Jen, only Paul Chelimo has gone with that early pace. And Oscar Chelimo is tapped himself a little bit further back in the early stages. For many of the guys in behind, he'll be specialising at maybe the 5 or the 10K earlier on, an opportunity to get a bit of speed work in their legs as well. But Joshua Cheptegei is trying to collect as many world records as he can. You may have noticed earlier on, if you were with us, Jacob Kiplimo, another one of the exciting Ugandan talents, ran a world lead of 26.33 in the 10,000 metres to go number 7 all-time in this meet. We're back to the triple jump. This is Melvin Raffin of France in the final round. He's in around about 3rd position, and that's upwards of 16.5 metres, I think. So he may well finish in that position. I can tell you, by the way, Christian Taylor passed his last round, so his best on the day was 16.36, only 2 legal jumps, and pulling up in that 5th round was a concerning sight for the Olympic and world champion. So close to the big one in 2 or 3 months from now. We'll bring you any updates we can. Keep an eye across the usual social channels for any news on Christian Taylor. As Melvin Raffin, 16.71, his best jump of the competition. He finishes in 3rd. There is confirmation then for Brice Zango taking the honours over Christian Taylor with 17 metres and 20. Just the 2nd time Zango has got the better of Christian Taylor. Good performance from Max Hess as well in 2nd with 16.97. But we pick up the men's world record attempt in the 3,000 metres. And already they've dropped Paul Chelimo from this fierce pace as Richard Duma's day is done, and Stuart McSwain now takes over on pace duties.
Well, I'm not surprised the rest of the field have dropped off this one. It is a world record attempt, of course. We never always know when we're given this information whether athletes will go for it. And really interestingly, just before we started off air, Chris, we were looking at our pace chart, and it only actually starts at around about 7 minutes 22. So the world record, 7:20.67. We had to get our calculators out. We had to do a little bit of work, didn't we, to see what sort of pace they should be going through. And I think we're about to pick up the pace at 1,600 metres. So 1,600 metres, we're looking at 3:55. So we'll be able to get an indication in around about 100 metres whether they're still on target for that or not.
Well, the wave light technology on the inside, a reminder, the red lights are the guide for the pacemaker. The leading green light, that is pretty much where Cheptegei needs to be on this world record mile, which, as we said, has been held since September 1996 by Daniel Komen of Kenya, set in Rieti in Italy. He ended up becoming the world 10,000 metre champion in 1997. 7:20.67 is that world record mark. The meeting record, by the way, is 7:31.66, another more minor target for Joshua Cheptegei, who we said hasn't quite, he's certainly shown pace over the half marathon distance, finishing 4th at the World Half Marathon Championships in Gdynia in Poland in October. That was just 10 days after he set his 10,000 metres world record, which was taking down Kenenisa Bekele's mark.
Well, if we look at those lights there, we can see that they are just falling away from that pace. And like we say, it's a world record that has been stood for 25 years, probably one of the toughest records that actually still stands. And Stuart McSwain is actually working really hard himself. He's a 3:30, 1,500 metre runner. So it's took an athlete of that sort of calibre to try and get him all the way to 2,000 metres. 4:56.19, that's 2 seconds just below that world record pace. But we have to say this is one of the fastest races over 3,000 metres that we've ever seen.
Well, those wave lights are just sneaking away from Joshua Cheptegei, but we know someone of his ability and his capabilities. He probably can press the injection button, but it is a serious test, this. He's got to be averaging somewhere around about 58.75 if you spread the pace out evenly. 2 laps to go, 5:26 there or thereabout with 800 metres remaining. And as we see Paul Chelimo in second place, Cheptegei, as we knew it would be probably, all the way out on his own at the moment. But it just shows you the level at which Daniel Komen was performing back in 1996. Didn't even make the Olympic team for Atlanta that year, Daniel Komen. But Joshua Cheptegei, I suppose if anything, I mentioned it, Jen, this is on the sharp side for him, isn't it?
It is. You know, he's better known over 10,000 metres. He's world championship medalist over that distance. So very much some speed work for him over this 3,000 metres. But really interesting that we did just see Chelimo there. You know, this is a guy who's won a world championship bronze medal over the 5,000 metres, an Olympic Games silver medalist over the same sort of distance. And look at the distance that he is at the moment behind Cheptegei. This is territory that not hardly anyone has ever run during this pace before. He's got to be, 80 metres behind now. As he takes the bell, it's 6:28.29. He's around about 6 or 7 seconds away from that now, but still, like we say, it might be around about 7 minutes 30 at this rate, and it still actually would be a personal best for him.
Yeah, and a meeting record which stands at 7:31.66 as well. The World Athletics performance scores actually rated Cheptegei's 5 and 10K world records as better performances than the Daniel Komen world record on their performance scores from the results tables or scoring tables that go back to the 1970s. But Cheptegei, certainly I think he realised as those wave lights disappeared in the distance that for him it wasn't going to be today. He needed everything to fall right conditions-wise and in terms of being able to maintain that pace. But certainly, whichever way he chooses to go for Tokyo, looking to double up over 5 and 10 potentially. Fascinating clash could be on the cards with Sir Mo Farah amongst others as well. But the meeting record of 7:31.66 looks like it might slip away as well for Joshua Cheptegei, who certainly has worked hard today, coming up towards the line. Cheptegei, the world record holder over 5 and 10K, 7:33.26 in the end.
Well, can you believe that? It depends whether the time is actually rounded down, which we have seen tonight in most races by 1/100th or 2. That is actually the same time as his personal best, 7:33.26. So it'll be really interesting to see what it does get rounded down to, if it does. Oh, in fact, it does. 200ths of a second. So a very, very slim personal best there for Cheptegei, and he certainly attacked it, didn't he? He did all that he could. He had two fantastic world-class pacemakers, but a win in the end in 7:33.24 from Chelimo, 7:41.69. And I think in third place it was Oscar Chelimo.
It was, and a PB for Oscar Chelimo actually of 7:43 flat as well. The 19-year-old taking a second or so off his. Sean Tobin of Ireland, if you're watching, tuning in from Ireland, came in sub 7 minutes and 50 seconds as well. But Cheptegei, well, just to show you how tough it is, Jen, to specialise over such a range of distances, only the great Paavo Nurmi in the 20s and Henry Rono in the late 70s have held the 3,000, 5,000 and 10,000 world records at the same time. So having that range at the very, very top level is not easily done.
It isn't, and it always fascinates me. And, you know, obviously he's run a great half marathon as well. This was definitely on the sharp side for him. He had run a 1,500 metres at altitude, I think it was just last week, 3:37. And no disrespect, 3:37 definitely isn't the same sort of range that he's got. But yeah, that's 7:33. It is a world lead, like we say. It's not a championship distance, but I'm sure that'll bode well with whatever event he decides to do on Tokyo.
Yeah, the 5 and 10K double has been done at the last 3 Olympics. Bekele did it in Beijing in 2008. Mo Farah did it in London 2012, and then, of course, completed the double-double in Rio 2016. Mo Farah back on the track for Tokyo 2020 as well. So fascinating middle-distance action, long-distance action in prospect. As we pick up some of the earlier field events. The women's hammer. This was Malwina Kopron. This was round 3. She went out to 74 meters and 74, the Polish athlete, which in the end was enough to take the victory. 74-74, a season's best. And that was ahead of the world record holder, by the way, Anita Wlodarczyk, who could only manage 72-72 today. We know what a dominant force Anita Wlodarczyk has been. Down in third position today. Malwina Kopron, good scalp for her. In the women's javelin, well, Barbara Spotakova, the world record holder, was involved, but the victory went to the German, Christine Hussong. This was her 4th round throw, which landed at 66 meters and 56 centimeters. Outdoor season's best for her as well. Collated results of the women's javelin. Hussong from Ogrodnikova, Sarah Kalik and Spotakova down there in 4th position, short of 60 meters today. So the sights of the Metsky Stadion in the Czech Republic, one of the most famous venues and famous meetings, the 60th anniversary edition of the Golden Spike, and those are the spectacular trophies as well that the athletes will be receiving. A world lead time a little bit earlier on for Jacob Kiplimo in the men's 10,000 meters, putting himself in the top 10 performances of all time. One or two other standout performances as we see some of the pictures from some of the earlier national and regional events that took place. Disappointment for Christian Taylor, but Fabrice Zango taking the men's triple jump today. Joshua Cheptegei falling short, unfortunately, in the men's 3,000 meters with that world record attempt, but certainly still showing himself to be in good form. Marcin Lewandowski taking the men's 1,500 meters. Duplantis over Kendricks in the pole vault as well, as those two sharpen themselves up for another battle going into the rest of the season. Fred Curley, 9.98 in the men's 100 meters, taking the scalps of Gatlin and De Grasse. Bright British talent in the middle distance as well. Victories for Keely Hodgkinson and a European junior record going sub 159 for the first time. Also a European junior record for Max Bergin in the men's 800 metres. Bay of France was the victor in the men's long jump earlier on, going just over 8 metres. As we mentioned, Lewandowski with a perfectly timed victory charge in the men's 1500 metres. Disappointment for Genzebe Dibaba, the world record holder in the women's 1500 metres. She didn't finish. In the latter stages of the race, slowed up and then pulled out, and there is Keely Hodgkinson. A huge day for her. First sub-2 clocking outdoors, the European indoor champion. Kudos to her coaching team led by Trevor Painter and the lady alongside me, Jenny Meadows, as well. There is Max Bergin. Huge performance from him as well in the men's 800 metres. Getnet Vale was chasing a sub-8 minute time in the men's steeplechase. That didn't happen for him, unfortunately, but Kirani James went sub-45 again in the men's 400 metres. And that woman, sha'carri Richardson, keeps on impressing. Over 200 metres this time, a big 100 coming up on Saturday in the Diamond League. Kenny Bednarek, he took the men's 200 metres, and Johannes Vetter went flying out over 94 metres in the javelin. Jessie Knight, an impressive winner in another personal best for Great Britain in our first track event earlier on, the women's 400 metres. And Duplantis got the job done in the men's pole vault. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the 60th Golden Spike live from Ostrava in the Czech Republic. Wherever you've been watching with us today, from myself, Chris Temple, and Jenny Meadows, it's goodbye for now.
Can we wait for our sponsor? Úžasný výsledok. Európsky rekord v kategórii do 20 rokov 1,58,89. A 800 mužov bola ešte